It's 6 o'clock. In fact, it's 6 o'clock and 26 seconds. So, just kidding. I'm not that much of a stickler for on time, but we are going to get started. Thank you all for joining. We are going to do Pilates. And when I do Pilates, I don't play any music, but if you'd like to play music, please play music. You can modify any of the movements. I generally show variations for everything. I'm not going to stop and take water breaks, but you can stop and take water breaks at any time. Okay. Let's get started. So we are here on our mats. All you need is your mats and your body. We're going to start with breathing because, you know, it never hurts to breathe. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. So while there's a certain style of breathing to Pilates, don't feel like, oh my gosh, if I am not inhaling and exhaling at the right time, that it's wrong. Just go ahead and breathe. That's the most important part. But if you do want to try Pilates breathing, it's an inhale through the nose, like you're smelling something, and then exhaling out through the mouth, like you're cooling something down, like hot soup. And let's try to bring some tie in the breathing with our body. So you can inhale, lengthen through the top of the head, exhale, draw the abs in, maybe round the spine a little bit. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to round. As you lengthen and lift your chest, your arms might like glide up your shins. And as you exhale and draw the abs in, rounding the spine, you might notice your hands just kind of trail down your shins. Do a couple more breaths. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Always trying to keep those shoulders relaxed away from the ears. And let's go ahead and roll all the way down. One vertebra at a time. Take your time here. And now we're going to continue to breathe in neutral spine, neutral pelvic position. Inhale and exhale. The first Pilates class of 2022. Just a reminder, neutral spine is basically a position of your spine and pelvis where you can just barely get a hand underneath your lower back. Inhaling and exhaling in this position. And then imprint is where that lower back touches the mat. So you create the process of imprint by drawing your abdominals down towards the spine. And here I cannot get my hands underneath my lower back anymore. So inhale, come to neutral, tailbone on the floor, exhale, imprint. So just going to feel a gentle rocking back and forth of your pelvis. So pelvis goes forward, if you want to think about it that way, and then pelvis rocks back on the imprint. Forward to get the tailbone on the floor, back to get the tailbone off the floor. And all of this is controlled not by our butt, but by our abdominals. So I release the abs, I contract the abs. As I release the abs, I inhale. As I contract the abs, I exhale. One more time. Exhale, imprint. Keep the imprint as we lift our legs. Generally speaking, anytime our legs are off the ground, we want to be imprinted. Exhale. Tap the toes out one at a time, or 1 foot at a time. Or I should say 5 toes at a time. Keeping the knees bent at 90 degrees. So it's our little Pilates warm-up. We're practicing maintaining imprint as we move our legs. So the leg movement creates the challenge to our imprint. When your legs are in tabletop with the knees right over the hips, there's some work in your abs. And then as the leg reaches away, there is more work in the abs. And now to increase the work, we will lower all 10 toes at the same time. And if you feel your lower back arch off the mat, and just take your toes halfway down, like this. Good. The goal is to try to keep the imprint throughout this entire exercise. So from the moment your toes hit the ground to tabletop, your lower back is always in touch with the mat. Try to keep tension out of our neck and shoulders. So a lot of work down here, hip flexors, quads, mostly relaxed up here in the neck, shoulder area. Your last one, lower lift, and then just allow your heels to drop toward your butts, and then place your feet hip distance apart on the ground. Come into neutral, inhale. Exhale, roll up into your hip bridge, one vertebra at a time. Actively reach those knees away from the shoulders and form a straight line from shoulder joint, hip joint to knee joint. Inhale. Exhale, slowly roll on down, one vertebra at a time. So look for that mobility in your spine. See if you can really allow inch by inch movement of your spine, as opposed to lifting the entire spine up off the ground all at once. Exhale, brush through the heels. Inhale at the top, exhale, lower. And then inhale when your tailbone hits the floor. One more time. For ab prayer, I'm going to lift the head first, looking toward my knee, and then the shoulder blades. Inhale, hold, exhale, shoulder blades come down, and then the head. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So our breath is really forcing us to slow down the movement. Because I can crunch really, really quickly if I didn't have to coordinate my breath. But because I'm exhaling to lift and I'm inhaling for a hold, I'm not just coming right back down really quickly. After we reach those fingertips, look at the knees. So we're going to work on abdominal endurance. So what that will look like is we're going to crunch up and stay lifted while we reposition our legs to pump our arms 100 times. So tabletop, straight or diagonal. Look at your knees and pump. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 10. Inhale. Exhale, 20. Inhale. Exhale, 30. Inhale. Exhale, 40. Inhale. Exhale. Halfway done. Exhale, 60. Inhale. Exhale. Try to keep the shoulder blades off the floor if you can. Really keep those abs engaged and the spine imprinted. Exhale, 90. Inhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 100. All right. Sometimes if your neck does get a little sore, feel free to lower that head, neck, and shoulder blade and just relax with the head on the ground. You can still get a great abdominal workout even with the head and shoulders down. So forearm assisted spine extension. In this case, we don't want to lift the head first and then the chest. We want to actually try lifting the head and chest at the same time. Keeping the eye gaze on the floor, head and neck aligned with the spine. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Now feel the muscles along your spinal column engaged to lift the upper part of your torso off the mat. Even though our legs are staying on the mat, we're going to keep the legs engaged. So I have my quads fired up. I'm going to do one more with forearm assist. I'm going to take my arms back and reach my fingertips toward the toes. Now I do have my palms up right now. And I'm going to actually do some arm variations in just a little bit. Let's just focus on lifting the chest, keeping the head and neck aligned, reaching the arms up and slightly back. Good. And then for a moment, just hold your chest up here and then flip your hands so they're palm down. So just a little spine endurance with some supination, pronation of the arms. Just rotate. See how it feels with your shoulder blade. Yes, I know your spine muscles are working, but also just getting. And if this bothers your wrist in any way, you can skip it. Okay, relax. Come into your spine stretch. Anytime you need a break, this is where you're going to be. Just sitting on your heels, rounding the spine and relaxing. I want you to relax in any way, but that's one way, in case you needed a suggestion. Okay, so now we're in the front half of our mats and going into half rollback. So starting from that neutral spine position, we exhale round into the half seeker. So gravity wants to pull us all the way down, but we are not going to allow that. Remember what I said about the shoulders? They're going to stay relaxed and down away from the ears. Exhale. Inhale. So you're going to try your best to sit up as much as you can. It's okay if your spine is still a little bit round when you're sitting up. And we're going to add some arm variations if you like. If you want to keep your arms in front the entire time, you may do that. So coming back and then holding. So again, endurance. Isometric hold. Holding here. Now take the arm closest to you and reach towards you. Or again, we're going to reach for your hand virtually through the computer. And then I'm back up. I'm going to do it with the opposite arm now. So I'm going to reach to that one. I didn't rotate. I just reached my back arm for the wall. And I'm back up. You can keep alternating the breaths. So here we're inhaling. Exhale. Roll back. Inhale. Reach the hand in. Exhale. Return. Inhale. Sit up. So you'll notice that as you reach the arms back, it kind of makes your abs work a little harder. Exhale. Inhale, reach the arms. Exhale, bring it back. Inhale, sit up. We're going to do 2 more times if you want to do one arm and then the other arm. Or you can do both arms for the last 2 times. So as we roll back on this exhale, I feel a certain amount of work in the abs. And as I reach the arms to the side, I feel an increase of work in the abs, even though I've not changed my body position. I've only changed my arm position. And that's just kind of the principle of limb positions. Last one here. So I'm taking my arms to the side, bringing it back forward. But you feel more work in the abs there. And go ahead and roll all the way down. Get ready for your full roll up. The main thing about full roll up is articulation of the spine. So you can't help but peel yourself up one vertebra at a time as you do a full roll up. Dive forward, stretch. Even though your legs are on the mats, I want your quads fired up and engaged. If you find yourself getting stuck here on the way up, you can bend your knees a little bit. And you can keep your knees bent as you roll up. You can grab behind, or you can shoot your legs out straight. Those are all options to helping you kind of get over that sticky point of the roll up. Good, and then focus on articulating your spine on the way down. So starting with the arms, from the head, the shoulder blades, mid back, low back. Again, engage legs. Feel those heels heavy on the mat. And then in reverse, remember to keep those shoulders down and relaxed. Sometimes as we're creating tension and working our abs, we tend to maybe create tension in other places. Let's try 2 more. Use a little bit of momentum on the way up. On the way down, you definitely want to have a slow, controlled lowering, focusing on resisting the pull of gravity. Last one, exhale. I definitely need to adjust my pants. I can feel it. It is tugging in all sorts of weird ways. Sorry for sharing that. Oh my gosh. Maybe these are not the right leggings to wear for Pilates. Anyways, we're we're adjusted. So now we're in the preparing for single leg stretch. Anytime you do single leg stretch, you can always pick the angle at which you stretch your legs out. So higher diagonal, a lower diagonal. Head, neck, and shoulders up, or head, neck, and shoulders down. Regardless of where your head and shoulder position is, or of your leg position, you want to be imprinted. Get that lower back down from that. Inhale, switch, exhale, stretch. Inhale, switch, exhale, stretch. Going at about 45 degrees. They give you an option here to do what's called the scoop. The scoop is, you imagine your toes are scooping down and lifting something, like flicking sand. So as you switch, I go low to high. Another way to think about it, it's kind of like it's a bicycle variation, but it's really not just a bicycle switch, which you're probably used to seeing. I go down and lift. So I kind of like to use my imagination of like, I am picking up sand and flicking it. Last two. Low to high. Good. Take that head behind the head, support the head and neck, and rotate shoulder to knee. Inhale the switch, exhale, shoulder to opposite knee. Exhale during the rotation, inhale the switch. Give me 4. Quality over quantity. 3, 2, and 1. If your neck needs a break, this is always a good time to break as we go into single leg stretch. My abs feel quite a lot as both legs extend on a diagonal, even with my head on the ground. And then I lift the head, neck, and shoulders. Get those arms just close to your ears. So you can reach your arms to any diagonal, but generally speaking, they can come really close to your ears. Give me a couple more. Exhale, reach. Inhale, return. Exhale, reach. Good. Let's straighten those legs up for the scissors. Here is a quad hip flexor work and a hamstring stretch. Doing my best to keep my legs straight. It's okay if there's a slight bend in the knee. Exhale on the stretch, inhale the switch, exhale. So you're inhaling on the movement, exhaling on the hold. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so hopefully your abs are pretty fatigued and you are ready to lay on it. Go ahead and stack your hands underneath your forehead. We're going to keep our legs down for now, but you can keep the leg muscles engaged. So I'm firing up the quads to really anchor my body as I lift the chest and arms. Of course, my head is lifting too because my head is attached to my arms and they're above my arms. But this is basically spine extension with a little bit of resistance, lifting the weight of your arm. Okay. And then let's try a salute here. So your hands are kind of at the top of your forehead anyways. So when you lift, you can do a salute. Extend the arm wherever you want it to go. I just did a one-arm salute. So now I'm going to do my other arm. And now I'm going to do both arms. So we're lifted, salute with both arms. I mean, I don't think anyone ever actually salutes with both arms, but just for the purposes of the exercise. So I'm going to do single, single, and then double. So lift, two thumbs. My front arm salute straight, back to the forehead and lower. Alternating the breath, so we inhale, lift, exhale, reach, inhale, return, exhale, lower. And then the double arm salute. Inhale, lift, exhale, reach. And you can reach at the diagonal like you're making a Y. Okay. So let's rest the upper body for a moment and just focus on the legs. So you can keep those hands stacked and relax this chest and neck area. When I lift my leg, the glutes are going to engage. It's a hip extension. Quads are engaged. Basically, I want to try to keep my legs as straight as possible. Your feet are about hip shoulder distance apart, so they don't have to be side by side when they lift. So again, just relaxing the upper back for a moment, focusing on the glutes, stretching the hip flexor. And then let's try lifting upper and lower body at the same time. You can keep the hands where they are, or you can do a salute. So basically, as I lift, I reach for a salute, return to forehead, and lower. It's kind of a quick flow there. So lift straight, bend low. Lift and straighten, returns. When I say bend, I mean bend the elbows. Lift, reach, fingertips to the forehead, and lower. Two more. If you prefer doing this with just the upper or just the lower body, feel free to do that. Okay, let us stretch our spine. Coming into our plank. So I'm going to do the forearm. So elbows will be underneath the shoulders. Reach a heel back. Have your feet about hip distance apart. My butt's a little high. I know this because I can see my butt, but also because I can't feel my abs. I'm going to lower my hips. Get those shoulders right over the elbows. Get the hips around my shoulder heights. And now I start to feel my abdominals. Drawing my abs up and in, squeezing the glutes, squeezing the quads. Quads really don't get a break in Pilates. They're constantly fired up. Let's take 2 more breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Good. All right. Coming into our backs again. So we're going to do a little bit more abdominal work. Okay. Combination moves here. So things you've already seen, but just kind of combining it in different ways. Hands behind the head. And have you imprint that lower back because we are preparing to lift the legs. So I'm going to have you lift one leg to tabletop and then the other. Good. And we've already done this in sort of the warm up. So your knees and feet are together. From there, you're going to crunch. So you've already seen this. And then from here, we're going to go into an extended, like hundreds position. We're not going to do hundreds though. We're going to return, hand behind the head, knees back to tabletop. Abs are still engaged. I'm going to lower my head. I'm going to tap down one leg. Okay. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, lift. So my exhale kind of takes care of both leg lifts. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, crunch up. Inhale, hold. Exhale, reach. Inhale, hold. Exhale, return. Listen, don't worry too much about breathing. As long as you're breathing, I'm good with it. So just keep alternating the breath. Maybe you want to inhale as you lower, or maybe you just find your body wanting to exhale as you lower. So if your body naturally has a tendency to breathe a certain way, you don't need to fight it. Let's do it again, nice and slow. Legs to tabletop, you're already imprinted in your lower back. Imprinted, of course, as you lift, reach, return, lower, and tap it. I actually can't remember which leg goes up and down. each time. So hopefully I'm alternating it. It's not a huge deal, not like the biggest deal with which leg goes up and down first. All right, last time. So legs are up, shoulder blades are up, reach, and turn, no lower, just the head, and final. Here. Now we're going to do some reverse curls. So that is, instead of lifting this upper body, we're going to lift the pelvis. And if your pelvis doesn't want to come off the ground very high, that's okay. You can use a little bit of momentum. It's just about sort of training your body to lift from the lower side. I'm just angle myself a little bit this way. One little trick is you can cross the ankles and then open up your knees and squeeze your knees together. And that helps get the ankle up. Another variation is you can bend your knees and then kick. So in this case, my knees are together. So knees, basically knees bent and you straighten, or knees bent and you straighten. Okay? Now the end goal is that you feel it in the abs. So even with a little bit of momentum, you should hope to feel it. Let's push our hands into the ground. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, lift. I'm also pushing my hands down so I do feel my triceps. Inhale, exhale, inhale. So basically from the tailbone to about my mid-back, I'm rolling up. So instead of rolling up head, shoulders, mid-back, or upper back, I'm lifting tailbone, lower back, mid-back. Let's do about 3 more. Exhale, to lift, inhale to lower. 2. This is pretty challenging. I'm not going to lie about that. Anytime we lift with our lower body is, in general, longer, taller, right? There's more of our legs than there is of our upper body, and it just weighs more. So our abs have to do more work in order to feel, in order to lift the legs. Okay, so we are aligning our body to the edge of the mats for our sideline leg lift series. So you want to be a little unstable. And that's how you know you're lying in a straight line. Fingertips here. With our legs in neutral, basically kneecaps and all 10 toenails facing forward. Here is our lift to parallel. I'm really trying to reach that leg to the far wall, like I'm going to touch it. The bottom leg is also engaged, even though it's at rest. And then we want to draw our abdominals in. Okay, so this is the basic sideline leg lift. You don't want to lift too high. Now hold the leg at parallel. 6 circles in each direction, slow. That's 1. That's 2. You can either breathe for a whole circle, you can do a breath in and out. Depends on really how slow your circle is. Again, no bigger than the size of a golf ball. Really slow and controlled here. Keep the quadriceps very, very engaged, reverse direction. In other words, you're acting like if you bent your knee, it would be the worst thing ever. So doing your best to keep that leg straight and strong. This helps to quickly fatigue your leg. All right, obviously I can't count to 6. Lower the top leg, lift both. If your top leg is a little tired, let the inner thigh of the bottom leg do a little more work. So the way you clap your hands like this, we're gonna clap our feet. So to the highest point you can clap, the highest point you can lift and then clap. Legs are still straight. Clap, 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 clap. Try to clap high. Keep breathing. You can breathe every 5 claps if you want. Now we're going to do what's called a very little flutter. So not a scissor. Scissor is like where you go as far as you can. Very, very small range of motion. Now, if I go too fast, look how spastic I get. So waist and above, absolutely still. So you have to really tighten the abs and really control with the flutter kick at the highest position you can do. So I would say if you need to slow down your fluttering a little bit, that's okay. And again, you can breathe in for like 3 or 4 flutters, 4 or 5 flutters. Exhale. So the legs are nice and tight. Imagine you're in a pool of water and you're ever kicked with like a kicking board in water? You just want a really, really tight flutter kick. Okay. Now I'm going to have us do one more exercise while on this side, but we're going to do it propped up. And if it bothers your one elbow or shoulder to be propped up, you can absolutely still do it lying down. The reason why we prop up is because it adds a little bit more challenge. So one leg is going to go forward. I mean, the top leg is going to go forward and back. So you're not going to counterbalance by moving your torso. You keep everything very still. So if I did this down here, I am going to feel a little challenged because if I didn't have my abs tight, it would fall on my face and sore. So by being propped up here, right, you feel these obliques. Maybe you don't need the kickstand hand, but maybe you do. It's a little more challenging on the leg lift, but you just feel a little bit more work in the abs as you swing the top leg forward and back. Again, if I took a snapshot of your waist and above, it should always be the same position, no movement. And photos of your lower body, if I took like 10 photos in a row, that leg's always in a different position. Keep alternating the breath. If it helps you to exhale when your legs back to really hold onto your abs, you can do that. If it helps you to exhale in the front, you can do that. Notice when I'm trying to keep my leg at parallel, so I'm not down here. It's a little harder when you're propped. Last one. Okay, oh my gosh. Go. Barely feel my leg there. All right, so let's go to the other side. A lot of effort to flip all the way around here. Okay, so where's the mat? I kind of just feel where the back edge of the mat is. And we are on our way to doing the basic sideline leg lift on the other side. So look and focus on like really reaching that leg as far as I can. Quadriceps fully engaged, fully contracted, leg as straight as can be. Abdominals drawn in, helps with my stability. Yes, your kickstand hand helps with stability too. If you ever take your hand away, you might feel your abs kicking a little bit more. And let's start our little leg circle. So holding the leg up to parallel and circling for 6, 5, small, slow, 4, 3. I would describe this as excruciatingly slow. Reverse for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You did it excruciatingly slow. The leg muscle should be pretty fatigued. So let's go ahead and do the double leg lift. And I generally will feel a little bit more on the inner thigh, the bottom leg, just because it's doing more of the work to lift the top leg than it is for the top leg to lift itself. Maybe you can clap for yourself. Okay, great. So you lift both legs up, and then clap, 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 clap. Give yourself a round of applause with your feet. Definitely really firing up those inner thighs. I feel more in the inner thighs than the outer thighs, but obviously both are working. Outer thigh, the top leg, inner thigh, the bottom leg. All right, and then we're gonna do our flutter. So instead of up and down, this is a forward and back. So the clap is up and down, right? Both legs open and one lowers and one lifts. Now this is just, I guess, the opposite motion of the northeast, not northeast, north-south, east-west. We live in the northeast, so I'm just used to saying northeast. Flutter, flutter, flutter. Pull those legs up high. Breathe. Try to bend your legs. So the movements from the hip. 4, 3, 2. Oh, okay. Can't do it more. All right, you can stay down or you can prop yourself up. And again, just by simply propping yourself up, it does create a little more work when you lift the top leg and a little bit more in the shoulder here. Don't sink into the shoulder and more into the obliques here. So top leg lifts to hip height, and then I go as far forward as I can and as far back as I can without letting my torso move, without counterbalancing the movement by swinging my torso forward and back. I mean, if there's a little bit of movement, it's okay. The goal is to try not to. Oh, my outer thigh muscles are burning so much. Keep breathing. Notice that if you start to get tired, you might start to sink in your shoulder or you're focusing so much on your leg. Lots to think about. We gotta think about the leg. We gotta think about the obliques. We gotta think about the shoulder. Give me 2 more. All right, I'd have to say this too. We are gonna do a stretch. You can do this lying on your back, or if you want, you can do it here. I sometimes like doing this version more because I feel like I can shift my body in close to my leg and feel a deeper stretch right here, compared to like if I'm lying on my back and then like it's like I can't pull in enough, to feel the stretch. So either version works. Just give me the option. All right, so I'm gonna switch. I can just move my whole body and just kind of like crumple myself into the stretch, and I can deepen the stretch. I have enough inner and outer thigh work. So let's do actually one more inner thigh work really fast. It's kind of a stretch and strength though, because this exercise doesn't really stretch the inner thighs. So with the legs together, open up, right? Inner thigh stretch. Support your legs if you need to. If gravity starts to pull your legs to a range that you're like, oh, I can't do the split. Well, again, support your legs and then bring it up. Relax from the stretch, but that's the work. That's a little bit of inner thigh work and ab work. Stretch. Exhale, contract. Inhale, stretch. I kind of like inhaling on the way up and exhaling on the way down. I think sometimes I just feel like the exhale is such a release into a stretch. So whatever works. Let's do one more. Again, just kind of stretching the inner thighs because we didn't quite stretch it after the movement. Give our legs a break. Flip over onto your stomach. Here's a coordination challenge for you. Remember, we have both arms forward. We have one arm back, one arm forward. We're going to do freestyle. That would look a little awkward, but it's going to kind of make you think of freestyle. So I'm going to, there's no point in working our spine if our chest is down. So we gotta lift our chest. All right, so I have my chest lifted. Remember, you want to keep the head and neck aligned with the spine. And then from here, you're going to switch the arm. Now, can you switch the arms like this? A big windmill? Sure. You can do that, or if you want, you can just kind of bend and reach, kind of like you want the arms close to your body. If both arms are straight, go straight here, they bend straight, or again, the windmill. So I form a T with my arms. Now there's a lot of endurance with the spine involved, so totally take a breather, lower down, lift, windmill, lower again. All right, so that works. Or if you do want to challenge your spine endurance, because you do want to work on these postural muscles, then you can do like 4 switches before you lower. So you know your body best. Do a couple windmill switches. Just keep alternating the breath. And lower and lift when you need to. And let's do about 4 more switches, taking breaks as needed. And then it's also a great exercise for your shoulder joints. Go ahead and sit back and stretch, because your shoulders should have this range of motion, right? Whether you're vertical or horizontal, your shoulders should have that circular range of motion. Can't really go into the floor, but the point being that sometimes we're at risk of losing our range of motion in the shoulders because we limit our bodies and our arms and what we do on a day-to-day basis. Okay, well, do some teasers here. Oh, the teasers. Okay, so similar to the roll-up, it focuses on abdominals and articulation. You want to time it so that as you're reaching your arms toward the toes, you feel yourself kind of getting stuck. You extend the legs, coinciding with the abdominal contraction, so you can roll up. So the reason you can roll up is because 1, you're using your abs, but 2, you have shot your legs out in a counterbalance to allow it. Should we hang out here for a while? Should we open up our arm? No, just kidding. We can do that later. And then we're going to just reverse the exercise. So you're going to straighten out your legs to counterbalance the controlled lowering of your spine. So you want to feel your abs on the way up and on the way down. And you are going to be honest with yourself. If you kick your legs out too fast, like I just did there, I didn't feel my abs at all. And if I don't extend my legs fully and I roll back, I didn't feel my abs at all either. So how do you feel your abs? Well, you've got to extend your legs out a little more slowly. All right. And then you got to extend your legs out again during that rolling down phase. Let's do 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Keep your legs straight if you like. Inhale. Exhale. If you keep your legs straight, the breathing is the same. You just don't have to straighten your legs as you roll down. Inhale. Exhale, we roll up. I keep my legs straight and I hold it straight for the inhale. And for the exhale, my legs are already where they need to be, and I just roll down with control. Last one, right? I said 3 more, I think. This should be the 3rd one. So I hate to sound like a broken record, but you know, the slower the better in Pilates is pretty much always going to be the answer. It's never going to be a goal to like rush through it. So let's give our abs a break. Teasers are really hard. That's why I only do like 5 or 6 of them. Like I said, quality over quantity. So let's get into our glute bridge position. In the warm-up, we articulated and rolled up 1 vertebra at a time. In the workout part of doing hip bridges or glute bridges, I take out the articulation. So my entire spine comes up and it goes down. And part of the reason for that is we do a lot of other exercises or coordination movement patterns with it, and it's just a lot to think about articulation as well as with, all the extra stuff. But if you articulate, it's not wrong. It's not a bad thing. Just want to point that out. So we're going to start with kicking or extending the leg and every other one. So we'll do one drive with the leg, the main butt on the ground, lower, and then the next one we drive with the leg. Just focus on the hip and drive. There. So I know the extending of the leg can be quite challenging. I don't want that to be like a huge thing about it. So we'll just do it every other one. And of course, if you don't want to straighten your leg, oh, 2 more pairs. So that remaining leg, butt cheek on the ground, doing all the work. Both right and left hips coming up same time. Good, switch. Now the work is going to be in this butt cheek. All right, so 6 pairs. So we have knee drive, toe drive. And really what I mean is like, imagine this knee kneeing the ceiling, and then the toe reaching to the ceiling. But it's all based on the glute down here. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. 2 more pairs. Very nice. So you not only feel your quads heavily, fire up, but, oh, lost pair. You also feel your hamstring getting stretched. Oh, okay, great. All right. So do you want to finish with a little bit of spine work and some push-ups? Just watch out for the wrist. If you want to do more abdominal spine work, lay on your stomach and do spine work that way, you can. So here, we're on our hands and knees, wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. You're going to do 1 push-up. So when you bend the elbows, they're going to go toward the rib cage. So in, not out. In. Do 1 push-up. Inhale all the way down, exhale all the way up. Now we're going to go into a spinal balance. So pick whichever opposite limbs you would like to pick. And then return. Inhale down for the push-up. Notice my head is going, my forehead is going slightly ahead of my fingertips here. And then reach the other 2 limbs up. Just long enough that you know you have your balance. Probably 1 slow inhale, 1 slow exhale. Inhale, lower. Feel your triceps. Exhale, straighten. First 2 limbs. Inhale. Exhale. So you just want to watch out that when you do your triceps, your elbows don't come back like this and your butt doesn't shift back. Notice my butt actually goes a little bit ahead of my knees as opposed to behind them. All right, so that was 4 push-ups. So I'm going to just do 2 more for 6. Try to do between 6 and 8 reps of everything. If you feel your triceps, keep those elbows tucked in real tight. Balance works on not just your erector spinae muscle, but it's kind of nice to just break up the push-ups, So you're not doing non-stop push-ups. And last one. Yeah, so we're going to do some spine stretches. And again, if you want to be off your wrist, you can also be off your wrist to do an arching and a rounding of the back. All right? But you're probably more familiar with this rounding of the back and arching of the back. So I'd say tuck your tail under. I'm really embarrassed by your tail right now. Dropping the head. Feeling expansion across the back. And then the opposite. You're really, really proud of your tail. Lift it up nice and high. You're proud of your chest. Be good with about not hyperextending your neck, though. Right? It's not about looking up as high as possible. It's about keeping your head and neck aligned with the spine. So eye gaze probably 1 to 2 feet ahead of the fingertips. One more tuck. And one more arch. All right. Feel free to roll out your shoulders, shake out your wrist. That will conclude our class today. Let me know if you have any questions. Felt like we did plenty of stretches in between some of the exercises, but if you do feel a need to stretch a little bit more, feel free to do that.